the 12th of June 2016, and we want to know, is there any better place to jump onto a comic book than issue 957?
When Constantine does magic, is it a need to be naked or more of a want to be naked?
All this and more is coming up now. It's week 2 of DC Rebirth here at DCR.
This day, we rescue a world from mysticism and tyranny, and usher in a future brighter than anything we can imagine.
Up in the sky! It's a bird!
It's a plane!
It's
Distress Citizens Radio.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to a second week of DCR covering the DC Rebirth line. I, of course, remain your host, Sean Lamont, comic book reader extraordinaire. Not that extraordinary, just kind of normal, but it's a title. We all have our thing, and I'm joined, as always, by my cohort in crime, Mr. Brian Glein, the Punmeister General, although I guess the Gotham Academy Lumberjanes book is moving in on your turf here. I don't know if you saw the preview page for it.
I did not see the preview page for it. Did that come out this past week? I
don't believe so. No, okay. I think it was the preview for it. So,
Gotcha.
They have the Pungent Master in that one.
Oh, no.
Yeah, they're coming for you.
No. Come on, Fletcher.
But we're going to be talking about some comic books here, mostly DC, practically all DC. Yeah. You might hear maybe someone else mentioned, but not likely. Brian, why don't you give the folks the rundown, though, before we get started?
We are going to be spoiling all of the comics that came out this past week in DC's Rebirth line.
And closing out some of the ones that were kind of leftover stragglers at the second half of the show. So if you do not want your book spoiled, if you do not want to listen to the plot beats, character lines, story developments, etc., you will not want to listen ahead until after you have read your books. Now you have been properly forewarned. And did you have anything you wanted to chat about before we moved into this week's books?
Not particularly.
What about the weather? It's quite nice out.
Weather's nice.
Yes,
there are still low cicadas aplenty.
Yes. Do you want to talk about movies, TV? Do you want to? What did you have for dinner last night? Was it tasty?
It was like a chicken burger.
Oh, that sounds very good. Yummy. We should talk about that instead of comics. I mean, people love it when podcasts do that. That's what I've been told.
Mm-hmm. I've also got some food right here I can start chewing on. Mike,
that would be the best, actually.
People would like that.
Describe it as you eat it as well. That would be perfect.
If people turn things off early, but when we finish the books, I could talk about my self-published children's book I'm selling.
Oh, God damn it. Okay, without any further ado, we're going to jump into this week's books. Let's start at the very beginning. A very good place to start. Like Action Comics 957. Renumbering. They have gone back to the original numbering of Action Comics and where it was before the DC New 52 line relaunched things at 1, counted all those issues, added them onto Action Comics, and now we are picking up at Action Comics 957. It's actually kind of apropos for what's happening in the book itself. Yes. Since as we talked about last week, New 52 Superman has died, and a old school middle-aged Superman that was pulled out of time and brought into this timeline has kind of taken up the mantle.
Dadperman.
Yeah, Dadperman. He's here now. So we had talked about that last week. We already know all about New 52 Superman being dead. Left a bit of a power vacuum in Metropolis, though. Even Dadperman has gone, well, I'm probably going to have to suit up and take his position because, Metropolis needs a Superman. We need to have someone protecting the city. Bad stuff seems to happen here. Not as bad as Gotham, don't get me wrong, but still, a lot of alien invasions here. It's very odd how that works.
Bad stuff happens. It's just got a wider color palette, that's all.
And it does happen during the day, thankfully. I mean, it is usually daytime when bad stuff happens here. But because of this power vacuum, people have decided, not just Dadperman, but other folks have decided, well, maybe I can step into this role and do it. Most notably, Lex Luthor, who after a quick spray paint job of his purple and green power armor to red and blue, he taped on a little S sign on the chest and just went, hey guys, I'm going to be your new Superman just to, continue his legacy. And I'm going to start by breaking up this robbery that's happening at a genetics laboratory. Aren't I awesome? Oh, the cameras are here for the news. Well, let me diatribe a bit and tell you about how wonderful I am. Yes.
The Lex News Network is here. Who would have thought?
What a strange coincidence. But at the same time, you guys know me. I've saved the world. Okay, yes, twice. Thank you. I forgot about the second time. It just slipped my mind. But I have saved the world a couple times, so I figured I'm in a good position. Member of the Justice League already. They don't have to come and recruit me. I'm just going to become the new Superman with my power armor here and save all of you. Isn't that wonderful of me? Let's round of applause for me, everybody. Round of applause for me. And Dad Perman is back at home with his wife Lois Lane and his son John watching TV and sees him come on and goes, "Oh, hell no." Because as we had talked about last week, this Superman still has some baggage. His universe, Lex Luthor, was not a nice man. To be fair, our Lex Luthor is also not a nice man, but he's
just better at covering it up.
He's better at covering his tracks. And so Superman decides to suit up in the red and blue outfit himself. No more black costume with the S on the chest that no one could ever figure out he's Superman. Does a quick shave of his beard and flies on out there to confront
using a mirror and his eye lasers to hit all those nostalgia buttons.
Yep. Got to do it right. So he flies on over there and goes, "Hey, Lex Luthor, I know you're a bad guy." And Lex Luthor's kind of taken aback, as well as everyone in the crowd. They're like, "Hey, isn't Superman dead? And wasn't he in his 20s not yesterday? This is kind of strange. I guess we just see how this rolls. I mean, it's not like we've dealt with any other doppelganger Supermans yesterday or anything like that. So let's hear what he has to say." And they get into a big argument, and Superman goes to pull off the Superman crest off of Lex Luthor's Power Man armor, going, "Hey, you're not allowed to wear that. That's my family line." And as he does, the power armor kind of lashes out, and that is all the proof that Superman needs that Lex Luthor is a bad guy. Look at that. He's got like nuclear bombs strapped to his chest if anyone even touches the S. He's a bad person. And they start punching the crap out of each other, just flying through buildings, punching down through the ground, fighting. And in the background, all of the robbers that were there to rob the genetics lab just kind of look at each other, shrug, and go about their business robbing the place while these two are fighting out front. And they load up this giant casket onto this like hover truck thing and go and go to fly off with it. When all
that Kryptonian cargo transport.
Well, it's good for
there's no dome on top of it, but
that's a callback a little bit there. But instead, what we have here is the casket starts shimmying and shaking, and they're like, "Uh-oh," and eventually it explodes, raining down debris, as well as a massive containment suit filled with one really ticked off Doomsday who lands in between the two warring Supermen. And they both kind of go, "Oh, no. You can be Superman now to fight Doomsday. I know how this one ends, so Good luck. Have fun with that." Looks very parademon-ish.
That is how Doomsday originally looked.
Okay, gotcha.
When he fell to Earth, he was in that weird containment, like, hospital scrub suit.
Gotcha.
And then as he got more and more powerful and just murdered more and more superheroes,
he became more bone spiky.
He became more bone spiky, and it would rip and tear away.
It's kind of a good way to do the whole he's just a collection of spores that we caught in this containment suit that was strangely human-shaped, and now it's formed into a person thing. I mean, it's kind of at least acknowledging multiple things in the past, whether it's the recent past or the far past. I didn't realize that was his suit. I was like, is Doomsday a parademon now? No. What's happening? But yeah, that's a bunch of callbacks to older stuff, and I guess we're going to get our modern day retake of Superman versus Doomsday that I just asked for. Yes, except
there are many Supermen. So many Supermen.
So many Supermen. And we haven't even been introduced to all of them yet.
Yeah.
We've still got more to come. But I enjoyed this one quite a bit. I know a couple people are a little salty that this Superman was very Lex profiling.
He He was Lexual profiling.
Lexual profiling. There you go. He very much just saw Lex Luthor on TV and was just like, oh, I know that sumbitch, and just decided he was going to go punch him in the face.
I did like the family dynamic had a very Incredibles vibe to it that I enjoyed.
Oh yeah, his son watching on TV like, are they going to fight? Yeah, it looks like they're going to fight.
Probably.
Remember, son, violence isn't the way to solve problems. As his dad's like eye laser beaming.
Like, we can't use our super speed to unpack into our new house, but Daddy can do that? Okay, whatever. I see. He can shave with his laser eyes too? All right. I know I can't shave yet, but come on.
I'm going to remember this. You guys are saying, I learned it from watching you, Dad. It's still fun. It has that nice dynamic, and it's still playing off of old things. I love the fact that they're acknowledging that this Superman does have biases. He is a bit more stern. I guess he's not brash like New 52 Superman, but he sure as hell isn't going to take anyone's crap either. So it's kind of like you get the same vibe, but from a different angle from this Superman. And I kind of like the way they're playing it. And I'm sure most people are just happy to see their Superman back, even though it's not theirs. It's kind of a pre-crisis Superman that was brought to the present. Whatever. They got a Superman back.
It was technically the pre-Flashpoint Superman.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. Fine.
Yes.
Fine. But 957, I could understand how people, if this was their first issue of Action Comics, would go, what's happening? Because there's one other thing as well. Clark Kent shows up.
Yeah.
And
you're right. I forgot about that. Yeah, he does.
He's in the crowd.
Wasn't that
Jimmy.
the dude that was Superman that just died? What's going on?
We all knew Clark Kent was Superman as well. Guys, this is really confusing. I don't know what's going on. So I can understand if a new reader picked up this book and just went, But at the same time, it's Dan Jurgens writing it.
No one's looking for the Oblivion Stone anymore.
No, but he does do a pretty good job of making sure people understand by the end of the arc all of the intricacies. As I saw on Reddit, for good and ill, he makes sure everyone is along for the ride by the end of an arc. And for people that have been reading the full storyline, it's retreading a lot of ground. For those of people jumping on, it's a lifeboat. It really is. It'll pull you in and allow you to at least get some vestige of understanding of what's happening around you.
I do like that these books will eventually hit 1,000. I know that was a big gripe when the New 52 started. That's kind of cool.
It's kind of cool. I had no doubt they were going to do it even after they renumbered. Even if they were on issue 100 at the time, they would have just been like, boop, add a 0.
That's what it is, really.
So,
also, I'm just going to throw out there, I don't think you should do it every month, but I like when the artist draws the logo on the cover.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
I just think it's a fun little thing you
could do. This was Zurcher, wasn't it? Kind of everything we were hoping for?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Since Future's End, we have been clamoring. One of the events where he got to draw the old school Superman, like an older Superman with scruffy beard and everything. We were like, man, Zurcher really draws the crap out of a middle-aged Superman.
Yeah, he did.
And, ta-da!
Hey, look at that.
Here you go.
The perfect on-the-job training.
Yep. Good to go. So, did you happen to have one that's a good jump on point as well?
Detective Comics number 934.
Well, I mean, it's not as good as 957, but hey, baby steps.
All right, so James Tynion IV, coming off of that Constantine series we love so much, and Eddie Barrows.
Batman and Robin Eternal. He did a lot of the setup in there for what we have going on here.
All right, cool. So, we come in on Azrael fighting some random Batman-shaped thing. It was in the shadows. It was vague enough.
It was a shadow of the bat.
Maybe.
But
at least there wasn't a mask of a phantasm anywhere. But
Azrael is a
quasi-good
guy right now.
Okay. He was Jean-Paul Valley.
Yeah, he was the bad guy that was working for Mother and Batman and Robin Eternal, and then he found out that they had put all of those religious visions into his head to make him into the perfect killer, and now he decided he was going to work alongside the Bat due to Dick Grayson's help at the end of Batman and Robin Eternal, since he helped him take down Mother.
Dick Grayson just makes everything better.
He does. He just wiggled his butt at him, and Ezra was like, well, I guess.
Can't say no to that. So. All right, so Batman comes upon Azrael just getting beaten within an inch of his life by this bat-shaped thing. It disappears, but leaves behind this bat-shaped drone that was watching them.
He's stealing Batman's power of bat branding.
Yeah, I know. And it's just years ahead of everything in modern technology, and he's able to crack into its network for like a split second with his bat with his Bat Putor.
Yes.
And he realizes that it's tracking a good chunk of the vigilantes in Gotham City. He's like, well, crap, this can't be good. So he goes and he recruits Batwoman to be his partner in training all of these Gotham vigilantes that are being drone watched.
Because he feels they're not up to the task of surviving whatever it is.
And she's already proven herself. He reveals himself to be Bruce Wayne. She's like, I knew it. I've been waiting. I figured out like 7 months ago, but I really appreciate the fact that you came to me because it was I wanted to ask, but I didn't want to.
Well, there was like even during the Batwoman solo issues in the New 52 where they would be talking as Bruce and Kate Kane, and then all of a sudden something would happen, and Bruce would be like, "I have to use the restroom." Yes,
I also have to powder my nose.
They both kind of run in opposite directions, and then not but 30 seconds later, both would swing in and be like, "Why, hello, person that looks strangely like the person I was just talking to, but with a bat helmet."
Yes. Hey there, someone that looks exactly like my cousin, but wearing a unrealistically red wig. How's it going?
So, I mean, that's a reveal that was pretty much waiting to happen.
Only the finest of cosplay wigs for Batwoman.
Only the finest.
So, because she's got military training and everything, she's the perfect person to help him train all of these young vigilantes at the Bat Boot Camp. So they get Spoiler, the current Red Robin, and future Batman Beyond, Tim Drake.
So Spoiler is the daughter of a villain named Cluemaster.
The daughter of Cluemaster, and she uses modern technology to spoil bad guys' plans.
Oh,
spoiler alert.
Who else do we have here? Cassandra Cain, who's going by the name
of she's
Orphan.
Going by Orphan. She was Batgirl in the old continuity.
Who is technically one of the greatest fighters in all of history that Batman's ever met. And she just doesn't talk much. She was also raised by our contender for Father of the Year, one of our big ones for this year. Her dad,
Orphan number 1.
Yeah,
she's technically Orphan number 2,
or Orphan like a baby seal and locked her in.
Kid Orphan.
Kid Orphan. I don't know. I guess most of them are Kid Orphan.
I suppose, yes. But the best part of this, besides Spoiler constantly pointing out what a creeper Tim Drake is.
Yes.
Or at the very least, she's kind of like, okay, I'm giving you all the signals. Why aren't you just activating on it?
Well, at the same point, it was she gets in over her head fighting Penguin's goons, and then he just pops in and goes, "Yeah, I do have cameras watching your every move." Still,
she's like, "Oh my god,
didn't we talk about this already?"
I thought we did, but she was very excited that they both got letters to Bat Hogwarts.
Yes, they did.
And most importantly,
was it on a bat? Was it at least delivered by a bat?
I hope so. That would be great.
Owl, that would be really awkward.
All these effing bats! Oh, scream!
It was a man bat that delivered.
Oh man, even better. But just almost as good as a man bat. Through corridors and factories in the dark of the matinee, off at some random movie theater, they find poor Basil Carlo, Clayface, scaring people out of a movie theater so he can watch one of his old movies alone and remember being a handsome actor and not a monster.
Yep.
And it was kind of adorable and precious and sad.
It was really sad, but he's like, the running time's 88 minutes, Batman.
He's like, Batman, it's the minimum length to be considered a feature film. Just can I please watch my movie, Batman?
I promise I will just go back to Arkham after that. I just needed an hour and a half, man. An hour and a half.
Yeah. And he's like, no. We see. Batman sees some good in him, and he also had worked with Batwoman at the end of her series,
yep.
So he's going to give them a chance, in his boot camp. But he's like, you've got to follow all the rules. He's like, all right. And Eddie Barrows is really good at drawing me, so this should be fun. I suppose.
It's going to be really bad when one of the rules is wipe your feet so you don't track mud into the Batcave.
Oh, come on,
he's like, guys,
this is just singling me out. I know it. But he gathers them all together, welcomes them to the camp as they start roof swinging 101, and everyone goes swing up, and Clayface is just like, guys, I don't have a grapple gun or a grapnel gun. Come on.
I guess I could just kind of gloop here for a bit and drip all over the place.
Yep.
Like right off the bat, they're like, you have to follow all the rules. You have to stick by my side every minute. And then they just leave them on a rooftop somewhere. I'm like, well, that didn't work out too well. I mean, can he like Clayface together a grapnel gun?
I know, you would think maybe he could just like Venom style shoot some mud, but I guess it's not really strong enough to hold him.
Yeah, mud isn't a great
Can
line.
he shoot himself over and then transport all of his body through that line
that would be
to
a
the
good
end?
transportation
That'd
method.
be kind of cool, actually.
Messy, maybe, but just gloopy mud blops all over the place.
Hey, that's free use if they want to use it. But we cut to another drone watching them and a shadowy figure leading an army of ambiguously red logoed soldiers.
Ambiguously red logo soldiers.
That he's coming for Batman and his friends. Should I have recognized that logo?
I don't think so.
Was
it
that
looked
like
very
the
Arkham Knight-ish?
Was that like the Order of Saint Dumas or something?
No.
Okay.
There was no like no blaring reason as to why we would think. Obviously, it's a military style person.
Yeah.
The internet has its theories. They think it's, and I'm just going to toss out here because I don't believe it's the case, but there are some people that believe it's actually Kate Kane's dad.
Okay.
Trying to get her to focus on an actual mission and just using this as a training exercise and calling in like his murder of crows.
Yeah, he was yelling at her for, not being focused enough.
And not having an actual end goal mission and just
running around in her cosplay outfit.
Yep. So there's a couple people that think he's called in his old military contacts to try to offer a challenge maybe to get them up to speed
just Blackwater Gotham.
Blackwater Gotham. But remember, they had the murder of crows before. His old Black Ops unit that he used to run with.
Single best named Black Ops unit.
It was awesome. So hopefully those guys aren't completely out of the loop. I kind of like the whole dichotomy between her dad and her, and I was a big fan of the Batwoman series alone because it was just such an odd tone.
Yeah, I came in during like the weird reboot era where it was very well written, but at the same time it didn't really feel like anything was happening.
Like the New 52 first arc, she was handling all of the weird supernatural stuff that was happening in Gotham that Batman just didn't believe in. It was stuff like werewolves and what's her name?
Like
Bloody Mary.
Yeah, like urban legends and stuff.
Urban legends that were
happening. Like she would have been hanging around Slaughter Swamp and stuff like that.
Yeah, and Killer Croc was like the crocodile that someone flushed down the toilet and stuff. So there was like all these people were getting all the urban legends together into one super team, and she was fighting all of them, and it was really weird, and she's like, come on, I'm military. I should be the one fighting thugs.
Yeah.
While Batman's off in space, he should be the one dealing with these people. So I like the weird tonal shifts of that, and this kind of acknowledges some of that while still keeping her a very grounded character that most of the people from Elegy, the introduction of the character and stuff like that, probably have a bit more attachment to than her fighting werewolves and hydras in the sewers of Gotham City.
Gotcha.
What do you think? Tim Drake is the sergeant of this group.
Yeah. I'm sure he is.
It's Batman and Batwoman are playing mom and dad. They're the generals, and then he's the
sergeant,
first
or does he have
lieutenant.
Sergeant Peppers on his iPod?
He might, but they're not making him an actual trainee per se.
Okay.
Or are they just trying to salvage his
were,
pride?
They were really trying to nail home the whole. It's like, oh, he's one of the finest tactical minds I've ever worked with. Maybe perhaps before Flashpoint, but and he's ditched the weird tattered cape wing Red Robin costume. He's just wearing a regular like Tim Drake Robin costume with an awkward double R logo on it.
I don't mind the logo at all. As I said, I'm hoping this is the place where he finally gets to reclaim some of his lost glory.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great first step as far as not making him Tim Drake, back to the drawing board with you. You're a trainee. They're at least acknowledging you're a step above the trainees at the very least, and maybe we can teach you to be a compelling character on your own in this new universe. Mm-hmm. Your lessons are dialogue and compassion and pathos. These are the things we're going to be teaching you, Tim Drake.
Behaving around girls.
Yes. How not to creepily stalk all of the other teenage fans and heroes. So let's just pay a little attention to that, Tim Drake. So we're using
This is the downside of focusing on your studies during high school.
Yeah. He is a little socially awkward. But we're going to move on to Wonder Woman Rebirth, and we've been trying to use all of these books, at least for these first couple weeks, as introductions to the characters. hey, this is who the character is. I know a bunch of people are jumping on with Rebirth. Here's kind of a quick overstudy of their background and how they got here, and here's where we're moving forward from there. Here's their current status quo. And Wonder Woman Rebirth makes that difficultly easy, because the entire crux of this issue is that she doesn't know what her origin is.
Yeah.
She's kind of like, I don't know what's happening here. It's casting a lot of shadow and doubts on all of the known angles of her intro. So we're just going to kind of cover both of the main ones here. And the pre-New 52, before the reboot in 2011, Wonder Woman's birth was due to her mother crafting a baby out of clay on the beach and pleading to the Greek pantheon of gods, going, "Oh, I want a baby!" And the gods went, "Oh, okay," and they turned the clay baby into a live baby, and that is how Diana Prince, the princess of Themyscira, the princess of the Amazons, came to life. And she eventually found herself going to the world of man, leaving Paradise Island, to help defend the people of Earth after she manipulates a test to make sure she's the one that does it. And eventually finds herself an emissary for peace out in the world, for the kind of a diplomat for Paradise Island. But in the New 52, when that came about, we learned that most of that was a cover story, because her mom, Hippolyta, went, "I want a baby." Not really. I kind of just want to have a battlefield night of passion with Zeus. And a baby kind of came along with that. And knowing how Zeus's wife, Hera, queen of the gods, is known to be a bit vengeful for his infidelity, a skosh, shall we say.
Yeah.
A lot of smiting of cities and turning people into spiders and squashing people and making Hercules' life a living hell. And, she's a bit vengeful about those types of things. She decided to make up the story of the baby being given life out of clay to kind of protect the child from the god queen's wrath. So she just came back one day with a baby, and everyone was like, "Holy crap, where'd that baby come from?" And she was like, it was Eros. He swooped on down with his awesome Italian scarves and his little love pistols and shot some life into my clay baby, and ta-da!
Well, Zeus is turning into rain and birds and stuff all the time, so I guess that checks out.
It does. So after that came to light in the New 52, Diana found herself on an epic adventure amongst her godly cousins and uncles and aunts, and dealing with that side of the family and the machinations of Mount Olympus, eventually bringing her to where she is now, where she is no longer just a demigod, but the actual god of war, after Ares sacrificed himself to help her out during all of those adventures. So with these walls of reality thinning is the best way for me to put Rebirth. Now that Wally West has come back and people are starting to remember the pre-New 52 and how it was, she has these conflicting memories in her head of both of these things being true, and she wants to know what the actual truth is. What is my actual origin? So she ties the lasso of truth around her arm and starts asking questions, and finds out that something is a lie. Doesn't say what, doesn't say who, doesn't say how, but something is a lie. And she ends up going, well, I better go to Olympus and find out who knows what. So she teleports on up there, and it's all scary, spooky, and wonderfully drawn, but scary, spooky. Notably, though, she also changes her costume because she decides if she's going to find out who she is, she has to go back to her roots. So ditches the silver and red and goes back to the gold and red.
It's specifically the movie costume.
Okay, well, it's
gold and red, but I mean right down to that weird like tri-belt across her chest.
Gotcha. It's more of a hoplite type look, like a Greek hoplite, or Roman hoplite, I guess.
There's a lot I like about it, but I also don't think I've ever seen anyone draw the belt looking not awkward on her.
Okay, fair enough. But she goes to Olympus to confront them and is attacked by a bunch of automatrons that were made by Hephaestus, or she assumes they were made by Hephaestus. And as she looks around and fights these things off, she realizes this isn't the real Mount Olympus, is it? Just another lie piled on top the mound of lies that everyone keeps telling me. But God damn it, or God's damn it, I guess. Here.
Yeah, really.
I am dead set to find the truth, and she soldiers on, yelling off into the night, I will find you, truth! And it kind of casts a bunch of doubts
on everything that we love from the New 52
well,
era.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
We already have the main storyline coming out of the Darkseid War being, and even into Rebirth, that she was born on Paradise Island and she has a brother.
Yeah.
So that would almost automatically say she wasn't made of clay.
Mm-hmm.
So we still at least have the Zeus parentage in there somewhere.
Theoretically.
It could not be Zeus.
It could be someone else.
Yeah, it could just be Hephaestus with like a Zeus mask. I'm like, hey, I'm Zeus.
The Revenge of the Nerd situation there, right?
But in this case, we at least, I would assume, have that much to go on, and Greg Rucka, who has come back to write Wonder Woman, obviously a pretty acclaimed writer for his previous stuff on her runs before the New 52, has said he's going to acknowledge both. But I have a feeling the war band, we continue our line by conquering sailor ships and seducing them and then murdering them and dumping their bodies into the sea and coming back. And if we have a girl, they get to stay on Paradise Island. But if we have a boy child, we sell him into slavery for more weapons. That side of things may get
maybe a little less.
Yeah, I have a feeling that was just too dark for most readers, and they were just like, "Holy crap!" Even though, you know, it's a valid modern interpretation of the actual Amazons of Greek legend and myth.
Yeah.
I mean, they were some pretty bloodthirsty warrior people, and that was what Azzarello and Chang were trying to bring into it, and I think that may have alienated too many people, and that is the part that I think is the most at risk of being wiped out.
If somewhere along the line during this run, Orion shows up and is constantly guarding his junk around Diana, that is all I need for acknowledgement of the old run.
Just every single time she like points at something, he's like,
"Oh no!" Turn, put my hand, cross my wrists in front of my. Hey, can I borrow that shield?
Aren't you a new god? Yes, but apparently not safe from demi/actual Greek gods. That hurt a lot. Let me assure you. So I'm willing to allow it to run. The main thing that gives it the pass for me, and I'm always willing to give something a shot, it's building off of what came before. It's not just, here's Wonder Woman Rebirth #1, forget what you knew, this is what it actually is now. Moving on. Just like when Azzarello did it, he took the story of her original origin and made it a valid reason as to why that had been a story for such a long time, and then built the new origin on top of that. Rucka seems to be doing the same thing as far as taking both, and he's just going to kind of column A and column B it and forge an amalgamation type thing and run with that. So as long as he's acknowledging and doesn't just obliterate things, I'm more than happy to follow along in the story.
Still going to be less confusing than Hawkman.
It's still going to be less confusing than Hawkman or Donna Troy.
Oh, good Lord.
So moving on.
But she's still adjacent to this whole situation.
Yes, she is. So you got a double shot of Rebirth for us here.
All right, so I've got a Flash Rebirth, the 2016 edition, I suppose.
Yes, the newest.
Yeah, I got Joshua Williamson and Carmine Giandomenico. And so this is almost like an appendix to DC Rebirth.
It's kind of a 1.5, chapter 1.5 of DC Rebirth.
Yeah, I mean
they cover what they covered in Rebirth and then add like a little bit more to it.
Yeah, so it starts off, Barry Allen is investing a case that is almost identical to his mother's, and it's kind of stressing him out. And he keeps seeing mental flashes of like a yellow flash that's not Zoom, a white flash, and Zoom itself. And he doesn't know what's going on. He's like arguing with non-existent things, and the cops that are working the case with him are just like, "Oh man, Alan's really out of it." It's like, hey Singh, are you sure you want to like let him do this? And Singh's like, "Hey Barry, you want to like cool it on this one? You're probably a little too cool." It's like, "No, I'm gonna do it. Just let me alone."
Is Barry still living with director Singh?
He, at the very least, him and Pied Piper invited him over for dinner.
Okay.
And he's so he may have found his own place.
So they're at least still friends.
They're still friends, yeah.
There's that whole awkward.
He's like, "Hey, do you, I mean, are you doing all right? Do you want to come over for dinner sometime or something?" He's like, "Pied Piper put you up this dinner." Well, he did, but I'm still your friend too. I'm allowed to ask you over.
I'm happy that did not get wiped away with Rebirth.
Exactly.
Is pretty much what I was looking for.
Yeah. So he goes home and he talks with his dad. You know, we're pretty much at the like TV show.
Yep.
At least the pre-finale TV show where his dad is free from jail. They solve that mystery of like what killed his mother and everything. And so his dad's just there saying, so Barry, are you all right? You're seeing all these weird visions? Like, what are those things coming from? And he's like, I think the Speed Force is trying to talk to me. Okay, that sounds perfectly legitimate. And so he's like, has anyone ever tested this Speed Force quotation fingers you keep talking about? He's just like, well, everyone in the DC universe kind of got together and decided that the Speed Force is off limits. Like at Star Labs, Argus, like JLA headquarters, they all have a little sign that says Speed Force experiments, and we just put little traffic cones around them. So everyone knows that we just shouldn't do that. It's worked pretty well so far.
That has to be infuriating to the scientists of the DCU when every answer to everything is just Speed Force. And they're like, but no, come on.
They put the cones up. We can't do anything about it. It's like,
how is this time anomaly happening? Speed Force? Oh, come on, jeez.
So he tests the evidence and goes on patrol while he waits on the results, and we get another shot of the Wally West resurrection from Resurrection?
Resurrection.
The Wally West Resurrection, brought to you by Barbara Walters. So they redo the DC Rebirth
Very
scene.
timely, by the
yes,
way.
I know, right? The whole Flashpoint debacle and the unknown force that caused the aftermath and the New 52. And it continues a little bit further where it shows that Iris West, he tries to show, good Lord, all these W's, I'm killing myself. I'm so sorry, everybody.
You just stumble over it.
Yeah, so he tries to show Iris Wally, but he couldn't take it if she didn't remember him like his wife didn't. It's like, if I just see all these people I know from my past and they don't remember me, I just don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go and try to introduce myself to all of my best friends from the past and see how that works out for me. So,
but that's the setup.
Yeah, I know. That's the setup to send him off with the Titans.
Yeah, so he gets to run with his old crew.
The non-Teen Titans.
Yes.
So
the graduated Teen Titans.
So they speed apart, remaking the two Flashes running away from each other cover. Yep. Looks very nice. As Barry continues to investigate and follows up with a Batman, since the detective and the forensics guy, they work great together. We're kind of, kindred spirits in the superhero world. And of course, Batman is already in the case, and they compare notes and investigate the Watchman smiley face button. Now, there's also this great bit where they're sharing theories, but instead of hearing what they're saying, it's just Barry's internal monologue about how tiring it is to stand still during all of this, and he wants to keep moving, and he really wants to make a joke, but Superman told him one time that there's no laughing in the Batcave, and it's just eating him away inside. I'm just like, that's kind of all I want from that's kind of all I want from a Flash comic, really.
No laughing in the Batcave. He has cones around that.
Yes. Like, I know I've got all these smiling clowns and this smiley face button, but no laugh. It's a thing with me.
It wasn't me, Batman. It was the Speed Force laughing. Yeah. And you can't research it to prove me wrong.
Yeah. So they decide to keep this whole thing to themselves right now, but to both keep working on the same case. And then Barry's just like, isn't it like kind of crazy that we're the two most important people in the DC right now? That's really weird, right? It's like, well, I've kind of always been. Just pretend like you understand what it's like for me to have mainstream appeal, okay?
I haven't been this important since, I deleted the entire universe. Yeah. Well, maybe I'll do better this time.
Yes. But they part as secret detective pals, and it's pretty cool.
Do they have do they each get their little stenograph pad out and just compare notes with one another? Like, yeah, I have at 9:13 p.m. They were doing such and such around this corner. And then Barry's just like,
no, I'm sure they're going to find some people that are just randomly unpacking boxes at like a shipyard somewhere.
Oh yeah, and then one of them will run.
Oh yeah, this guy with a smiley face button. I saw him. Must have been about 8:32 last night.
If only there was something that could jog my memory a little better. Yeah, I mean, they could be detective pals that way. Why not? I'm game.
But yeah.
So it's well written in your regard. I know it's rehashing a lot of ground you covered last week.
Yeah.
Which is understandable for people that are just following Flash, though, if you're not following event books. And there are a lot of readers that just pick a character they like, they read that character, and that's
exactly.
it.
That's all they get. Yeah,
and especially with something this large for the character. I mean, like, hey, your sidekick for the past came back and is also going to be the Flash running around as well. So good luck with that. Have fun. Thought we'd mention how that happened to you readers of the Flash.
Yes. Now, mind you, part of his whole biggest, he's big right now. The Flash, it's like the most popular show on the CW, right?
Yes.
Still. So Flash popularity is at an all-time high. You can pretty much watch the first 30 seconds of any episode and have the basic idea of what's going on and hop in here without any problem, and it's introducing a bunch of new stuff for you.
Yeah.
And there's some ominous spectral flashes, popping around.
Spooky flashes. Spooky. It's always the small things when it comes to the Flash for me, i.e. like that internal monologue or the fact that he's still besties with Director Singh, who's dating the Pied Piper, and that whole awkward situation and his interactions with his dad. I mean, it's less the big overarching Speed Force plot lines with the Flash, for me at least. Again, this is just a me thing. And more of his interactions with the side characters of his life that always make it a fun read or not for me.
Wally dropped a Flash fact.
Yep. Yep. So, So I'm pretty on board for this one, as we saw with Williamson's work before, or at least myself. It's good. So I'm hoping that translates over to Flash as well, and he still maintains that minutia stuff that he seems to enjoy writing about. And this first issue at least seems to at least acknowledge it. So I'm content.
Jean Domenico has a nice, clean, kinetic style that I've kind of been missing on the Flash for a while, so I'm very happy to see that.
Good.
That alone will get me on it, but I just love the Flash.
Fair enough. You claimed it, so
yeah. Oh yeah.
This is one of the books that you put your foot down and said, I'm not giving up Flash.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, and I'm continuing on with Aquaman Rebirth.
Aquaman!
Yes, so Dan Abnett with Scott Eaton and Oscar Jimenez. So Aquaman is a man who...
Does he talk to fish?
Apparently he does not talk to fish.
Well, they are pretty dumb.
Everyone thinks Aquaman talks to fish and he's not cool at all. But guess what? Aquaman is actually super cool and a badass, and he doesn't talk to fish. He just mentally compels them like they were, I don't know, his unwitting slaves. Which is totally better than talking to fish.
To be fair, the situations he sends them in, you wouldn't really want like a flounder relationship where he's just like, oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? Oh, how's the wife and kids? Can you go clog up that boat engine with your body real quick?
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of really don't want him to have that.
I suppose. But yeah, that's where we leave. Aquaman, he is born of a fish person and an old lighthouse keeper.
The Queen of Atlantis.
And
was run out of town, and she got to surface and
she had a whirlwind romance with a guy who ran a lighthouse.
Yep.
They had this son who was both of land and sea.
Kind of like a lighthouse himself, defending the sea from the land and the land from the sea.
Yes. Very much so. And so now he is trying to bridge the gap between the land and the sea people.
Because every time they've shown up, they've marched with an army of people or flooded a city.
Well, yes. So he's built this gigantic, ultra-technological embassy called Spindrift Station that he runs with his fiancée, Mara, who is an
much better ruler than him.
Yeah, much better ruler than him. She's an underwater water wizard of some sort. Water witch? I don't know.
Sure.
If we're going by Harry Potter rules, I suppose. It doesn't have a negative connotation anymore.
Nope.
And he's got some high-ranking officers like Merc, who does not look like he's going to turn on him any day now.
Never.
Big angry guy named Merc, who also has the old Aquaman harpoon hand now.
Yep.
Which is kind of fun.
But he's almost kind of the lovable betrayer guy.
Yeah, exactly.
He's the hard-nosed, like, no, we gotta follow the rules. We're Atlantis. We're better than these surface people. Oh, they suck. They're so stupid. Oh, cotton candy. I do like cotton candy.
Yeah. He's that guy, yeah. I love him having that guy on his team. And he's got the former Tempest Garth, some guy named Captain Sark, who I do not know much about. And so they're running all of that. So they're running this embassy off of the coast of Massachusetts, and they're doing a pretty good job right now, thanks to Mara doing her best Ellen DeGeneres impression every single time like the Housewives
really
of America
funny.
show up. She's like, oh man, she's just so. She's just not mean. I like her. She dances sometimes. It's just I feel like I really relate to this Atlantean person. Maybe I'm no longer going to be prejudiced against fish people because this one person is so nice.
And she does tell some cracking jokes, so
yeah.
I'm on board.
Yeah. So in this issue, as we're establishing all this stuff off, Aquaman is fighting the deluge. And are these the Atlanteans that are from the swim-over states?
Yes,
That's
these are the red state Atlanteans that are all about Atlantis first. Atlantis first!
Yes. So Aquaman is able to defeat...
I love that you remembered the swim-over states.
Yes. Yeah, so Aquaman, he defeats the redneck underwater terror cell and stops them from suicide bombing Boston, the place that Ocean Master failed to destroy in the Throne of Atlantis story.
Poor Boston, just getting attacked all the time by Atlanteans.
We're going to finish what Ocean Master started. I'm like, oh my gosh, guys.
But they had sea dragons, too.
They did.
And it was Aquaman just punching sea dragons in the face for a while.
Yes, it was. After he settles all that stuff, Aquaman and Mara, they have a debriefing at his favorite Greasy Spoon restaurant back in Anchor Bay. Mara knew where he was going to be because it's where he goes to feel grounded. And he's like, oh my gosh, there's no one here, Mara. You don't have to do that here. She's like, I'm sorry. It's like a switch that I can't turn off. Once I turn it on, it's just stuck. I can't stop making the puns. My bad. Yeah, but the narrator who's been explaining everything and talking about how awesome Aquaman is, turns out is actually Black Manta.
Yep.
Who does not want to underestimate his most hated foe. And to get revenge over the death of his father, he is going to kill Mara and destroy Spindrift Station, which is still very hard to say, and show everyone that Aquaman doesn't talk to fish and that he's a murderer. And he doesn't talk to fish. Yeah.
Quit laughing at him. He's not someone to laugh at.
Yes.
The best part is that the history between Black Manta and Aquaman to date is actually very, very intertwined. Where it was, they were tasked, they were actually hired, Black Manta and his dad were hired to find proof that Arthur was half Atlantean to prove Atlantis exists, and his, Aquaman's dad ended up getting killed in that whole thing. He died of a heart attack trying to defend Arthur from these two, and then to get revenge, Aquaman went to go beat them up and ended up stabbing Black Manta's dad through the heart thinking he was Black Manta. And so those two have an obvious hatred for one another. But then during Forever Evil, when he thought Aquaman had actually been killed, Black Manta was just depressed because he was like, I didn't kill him. Someone else killed him. He was better than that. I kind of liked him being my nemesis.
Yeah.
I don't have any direction now. But then when he came back, he's like, oh yeah, back on the murder train.
Yes.
Let's get my revenge. And that's kind of where we're picking up here now, where he
That's
has
my nemesis, my nemesis.
So, I mean, it's actually been an actual full storyline for Black Manta as much as it's been for Arthur. So it's
Black Manta had a lot of good moments during Forever Evil, didn't he?
Yeah, he had a lot of good moments, period, when he joined the Suicide Squad because he was lost and didn't have anything to fight for because Aquaman was dead. And he was like, man, what's the point anymore? I might as well just do this. Then as soon as he found out Aquaman was alive, was like, screw you, Suicide Squad, I'm out of here. And then just kind of left to do this now. So I enjoy following his storyline almost as much as I am Aquaman's, who, yes, I know you are a little...
There's a lot of show don't tell with how awesome Aquaman is. Like I know over the course of the series, he has done a lot of cool things.
He has had a lot of very awesome moments.
He's had a lot of very awesome moments, but instead of showing us them, it just keeps going back to that whole everyone thinks Aquaman is lame thing, which honestly, at this point in like pop culture, after Brave and the Bold and seeing Khal Drogo, screaming around and stuff, I don't think people think Aquaman is lame anymore.
There's still a lot of people who think Aquaman is lame.
There's people who...
There are a lot of people that still think Aquaman is lame.
But if you're
it's a trope that you can still play off of very easily.
But if you're a comic fan, you realize you don't think that anymore. But
they're not just aiming at comic fans. They're aiming at... This is a trade that will be out when the Aquaman movie comes out.
Yeah, okay.
And people, if they watch it and go, whoa, Khal Drogo's awesome. Who's this blonde guy?
Dude, yeah, that's what they're going to be saying. Yeah, I don't know.
They would be walking in as well, surprised that maybe Aquaman isn't a lame guy that talks to fish. And if they're not going to pick up the Jeff Johns #1 trade, they'll pick up this trade.
I suppose, yes.
So it's a Bridgepoint.
I don't know.
And Abnett has proven that he is a world builder, so this is kind of you don't start at 11 and then go to 14. You start at 1 and build it up from there.
I understand, but I've got a lot of love for Aquaman. At first it was ironic,
yes,
and it has gone over to like genuine full-scale love, but I don't know. I stand with online comics pundit Benito Cereno, and writer, he also writes some comics too, who thinks that he wrote a thing recently where he's just like, if I were to write an issue of Aquaman, the very first panel on the very first page would be him smiling and saying, "Of course I talk to fish." And come on, that was the best part of the Throne of Atlantis cartoon. Did you ever watch it?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, the best part is when he gets drunk and has a heart-to-heart with a restaurant lobster while in the middle of a bar brawl.
Yes.
That is the best part of the whole movie.
I understand. There's plenty of moments for fun, but as I said,
I'm not saying he needs to be talking to Sebastian or anything.
I know. Him
having one-sided conversations with fish could actually be a pretty fun character trait.
He can still have one-sided conversations with them.
Except
that
maybe not tell them to fly into a turbine engine. You know.
I mean, it's just you have to balance that a little bit. But I have faith in Abnett mostly from his Warhammer 40K stuff that I never got to cover. Curse you. But he's really good at world building, and I think giving him this fresh start to do that, especially with the already pre-built things that are out there, the toys that he gets to play with, it should play out fairly well. And I have a feeling by the end of the first arc, you're gonna be like, they have shown and not just told, and now I am okay with it. So, but that was all the Rebirth issues that came out for this week. We do have a couple books that were coming to a close from the DCU line that was pre-Rebirth, that we're going to basically just do some quick overviews on, give people the endings or the status quos of where these characters are leaving off so that they can maybe go back and read it if they want, or understand if these characters show up in the Rebirth stuff moving forward, they at least have a introduction to them and we won't have to do that in their title moving forward. So I decided I'd start off easy with Earth 2 Society number 13. You guys watch The Flash, right? I don't need to draw on a whiteboard here. You understand the whole, there's multiple Earths, multiverse, alternate dimensions. You watched Fringe at the very least. Come on, work with me here, people. There's multiple Earths out there, all in different vibrating dimensions. And what we were following in this book was Earth 2. The Earth of the second dimension, we'll say, that has had a very, very rough go of things. I say that every time Earth 2 is brought up because it is really, really true. The actual Earth 2 planet that was originally there was destroyed by Darkseid and Apocalypse.
I just want to add in here that you're the one that said Earth 2 is on the second dimension.
You know what I mean.
And is possibly two-dimensional.
Yes, I'm just saying it's out there in another dimension, not the prime one that the most of the books are covering. And it has all of, like, different pastiches or versions or older versions of heroes that we see going on in the main line of books. And after their planet got destroyed, they all boarded onto these spaceships and flew for safety and ran across eventually another planetoid that, through a series of events, was made to look very similar to the planet they had left. And their ships crashed on it. And as each one of the ships crashed, they built cities around the crash sites where each ship had crashed. And they each took on a tone of the super people that happened to be on that ship. So like Superman City, Neotropolis is all bright and sunshiny. And then New Gotham is all dark and it's always raining and stormy there. It's just a lot of Gothic architecture. And it just happened to be that each one of these city-states formed in a very convenient tone for the heroes that live there so that their stories could match the tones of their adventures. It was actually a cute little idea, I thought. I thought it worked out fairly well. Unfortunately, these city-states soon learned that there were no natural resources on this planet whatsoever, and they were brought to the brink of war until the Green Lantern of Earth 2, Alan Scott, sacrificed his power to make a renewable energy source that they could all use. And now that's kind of where we're picking up here, where they're all stepping back from the brink of war, and all of the heroes from each one of their city-states are coming together to try to figure out how to make the world a better place. Like maybe if we form some sort of society that we could dole justice from, we could do something to make this world a better place. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, but I'm just tossing it out there. And not only the main heroes that we have been following, but also the quasi Wonder Woman of this Earth, the daughter of Wonder Woman and one of Darkseid's Lieutenant Steppenwolf by the name of Fury, who is leading the Amazon city-state, has also decided to throw in, because she was going to conquer the planet, but after Hawkgirl talked to her, she went, you know what? They're willing to sacrifice to save this planet, and that's all I wanted to do was save everybody, so I am going to offer up all of my technology to help make this world a better place. And all the other heroes are like, wow, that's awesome. Speaking of, though, weren't all the other Amazons dead except for you? Where did they all come from? And she goes, oh yeah, that's one of the tech things we have, this thing called the Pandora vessel, and it stores all of the memories of the past.
Oh no, not the Pandora vessel.
And we use that to, as people were dying, because after our ship crashed, the nuclear core opened up and everyone was dying of radiation poisoning. So I fused together the memories of Amazonians into them, and that's how these new Amazons have come to be. They're a fusion of people from your Earth and the memories of my past. And everyone's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Awesome work, everyone. And some of the people, though, like Dick Grayson Batman and Supergirl and Huntress and Dr. Fate are all going, hey, this Pandora vessel, if it contains all the memories of the past, couldn't we use it to just bring back Earth 2? Like the original Earth 2 before it got nom-nommed by Darkseid? That could be something we could do. But not everyone wants it to return to the way things are, because some people want to conquer this ragtag Earth that's in disarray. And that nameless someone has put together an army of lost children, one of them being the child of Dick Grayson, who was handed off, our second contender for Father of the Year.
Yes.
When Earth 2 was about to be destroyed, Dick Grayson handed off his son to an obviously in disguise supervillain and said, you'll keep my kids safe, right? And they went, yeah, sure. And this is where his child has ended up, in the child army of the Ultra Humanite, who is putting together these kids to go conquer the world in his Ultra Humanite gorilla body form to make it his now, because he's the only one smart enough to put his body in a gorilla body, put his mind into a gorilla body. So clearly he is very sane and obviously the man for the job to lead this new Earth too. And he has sent these children off to go conquer and destroy. And I'm sure that will work out well for everyone. Working out well.
Seems
for
super
everyone.
legit. Yeah.
It does not really give anyone backstory. It's kind of moving forward from where it had left off in the DCU and just saying, someone will recap it for you. We're just going to give you the very, very high level. Our Earth got destroyed. We're on a new one. The people are kind of trusting for us. We were all about to fight each other, but now we're working together and forming some sort of society to dole justice from. Maybe based in America. I don't know. It doesn't really exist here, so we're just going to be a society of sorts. And here's our contention. Some of the people want to use the technology to bring it back. Some of the people want to make the world a better place that we got, and some people want to conquer it. So enjoy. And that's kind of where they go. It's cute. It's fun. It's better than it's been. It had a very rough time there for a bit where it was just kind of like, we have 80 characters and 22 pages, and I want to make sure everyone understands what's happening with each one of these 80 characters in each issue, and they weren't willing to sacrifice anything for anyone, so it was a lot of just touchstones, and the plot moved at a snail's pace because everyone could only say 3 things each issue, and now we're kind of bringing everyone together so that they can focus and move forward, and we're a team now. Now we can just go and have a plot line that moves forward instead of trying to keep track of everyone in their specific city state. So, if that's your bag, that's your bag. It's not your Justice Society still
going?
Yeah, I think it's still going for a little bit, at the very least. So we'll see.
Midnighter got canceled, eh?
Yep, It's got better sales than Midnighter, so
okay.
That's what matters. As we say at the end of every show, if you don't buy it, it goes away, and that's what happened to Midnighter.
This seems all very superfluous if the regular Justice Society is going to be coming back in.
As I said, they're not really forming a Justice Society. They're just kind of doing their thing and forming a team that maybe has a lot of members of the original Justice Society, at least their Earth 2 counterparts, and building it off of that.
All right.
I know it's not your deal. I know you haven't been a fan of it. I thought the city-states and the tone that they were doing with that and the war between them and stuff like that was a great idea. Maybe the implementation of it was not the best.
It's a cute idea for like an Elseworlds or something.
Yeah, and that's basically what they're doing with it right now.
If you've got like a set story with a finite end, great, but it just seems like it just keeps going and going and going without knowing what it's doing.
They just keep trashing it, and things get worse and worse and worse and worse. And they very, very rarely get a good ending ever in Earth 2, so maybe that'll change now. Maybe that'll get better. I mean, they brought the Ultra Humanite in. Didn't expect to see him. You gotta give him that much.
You never expect to see him because he's different every time you see him.
True. It's not the Ultra Humanite blob monster of Action Comics. If you recall that one, when he was the puppet shadow monster.
Is it the White Gorilla?
It's the White Gorilla.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the classic Ultra Humanite. So
a few classic Ultra Humanites, actually.
Well, back off, man. Back off. So that's it. That's going to wrap up the first half. We are going to come back for round 2, cover some of the other books that are coming to a close here, and at least give a quick overview. So, Brian, what do you have coming up on the second half?
I've got Black Canary and Constantine the Hellblazer.
Don't you have one more real quick?
Well, maybe you
might touch
we might just say something about Hanna-Barbera.
Just at least acknowledge its presence. Yeah. And I have the end of the Green Lantern Corps' Edge of Oblivion miniseries, Red Hood Arsenal, The Bromance is Over.
No.
The Bromance is Over. And last but not least, Harley Quinn and her gang of Harleys. One of the 27 Harley Quinn books that are out there right now, and we'll talk about this one. So hold on a quick second. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we will run through those books.
And we're back.
And we're back to cover the past, the ending stuff.
It's got the new logo on it.
It does have the news. I don't think any of this is continuing on, but a lot of it is set up for where the characters are going in their Rebirth books, and that's the main reason we're covering it. So it's kind of a, hey, this is what they were doing right before you're going to pick up the Rebirth stuff, and maybe explain some of the reasons why they're doing different things there. Yeah. So I'm going to start off with Green Lantern Corps Edge of Oblivion number 6 of 6, which was basically a convenient way to keep the Green Lantern Corps busy while Hal Jordan was flying around being a renegade. He was the space cop that tried to make everyone believe that he was the bad seed in there, and that's why the cops were actually good guys and not bad guys. So the Green Lantern Corps ended up getting sucked into the universe that existed before our universe came to be. You know, like you do when you want to shelve someone for a while. And they ended up flying around there trying to save this universe, actually trying to find their way back, because this universe was just about to die and be reborn into theirs, kind of a rebirth of its own into the modern day universe. And they had found the last city of people. All the other people had died throughout the universe due to these planet eaters known as the Darkest Knights, who are flying around eating everyone, going nom 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 nom. And this last issue is them fending it off as they try to find a way back home and just fighting to save this last city against these giant planet eating people. And as the Green Lantern Corps are dying in droves, I mean, they are killing off a lot of Green Lantern Corps members. They rings fly off, as they do when a Green Lantern Corps member dies, to go find a replacement. And Simon Baz notices that they are all flying into the giant tear in space and time that they assumed was the end of the universe. And it turns out is actually probably a portal back to our universe. So Simon Baz agrees to fly in, volunteers himself to fly in and to let everyone know if it's safe. And unfortunately, his communications break off. Last thing he says is, "It's full of stars." And then he just kind of disappears. And everyone goes, well, that usually works out well for people of going through portals. Superman always says going through a portal is the way to do things. or was that how you get rid of, I don't remember exactly what he said, but portals are good. Let's go ahead and get everything back, but we can't allow the darkest nights to follow us. And the last living planetoid of this universe goes, I'll sacrifice myself. So the Green Lanterns pick up the last city off of that planet, move it over to Mogo, and as the last living planetoid of this universe kind of noms them back, just kind of blocks them from the portal, they all push themselves through into the oblivion, plunging headlong into the abyss with no certainty of their outcome, and certainly no fear is how it ends. And they just kind of wink out, never to be seen again. As we know, that's how they ended up coming back at the end of Darkseid War, and then they all just kind of attacked Darkseid and the Anti-Monitor and stuff like that. So clearly we know they've made it back to the present day, at least somewhat. And Simon Baz was hanging out.
We've seen them show up in other books already.
I feel bad because having read this little miniseries and then reading the Green Lanterns book, the one where it's Simon Baz and Jessica Cruz, and they're doing the whole where he's like trying to pull rank on her, and they're like, you've been a Green Lantern for like just a month longer. Yeah, but that month I was trapped in an alternate universe, dying with everyone else, fighting off a giant planet eaters and plunging headlong through rips and tears through space and time. I think I'm a little more well-versed than this lady who just got a ring.
Who lucked into an accidental Justice League membership.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of see where he's coming from a little bit more now in that situation where he might feel a little bit... I've been at least tossed into the crucible a little bit. At least a little bit. I've at least had one giant war that I was involved in. Come on, guys. Come on. So, it gives you a little bit more with them. Guy Gardner, again, is kind of the lead in this book. It's a Guy Gardner, John Stewart book, two of the other Earth Green Lanterns, and it does a pretty good job of showing both of their angles on how they approach things. Guy Gardner flies off the handle real quick, but once he makes up his mind, he sticks to it, and John Stewart is very calculating, I gotta save as many of these people as I can, just like when I led my platoon back in Afghanistan. I had to make the call for the greater good, and that's kind of how he does things, and obviously that leads to some conflicts between the two, and now they've both kind of made amends with one another, but at the same time there will always be that conflict between the two of them, because that's just who they are, and I thought it was a good setup for the characters. Not very many people like this mini, though. There was a lot of people that were just kind of like, because it was a shelve the Green Lantern Corps for 6 months.
Yeah.
Get them out of the picture so that we can do this other storyline. And here, we'll at least tell you what they were doing while they were gone for that 6 months, and now they're back. You knew it had a shelf life, and it was going to end in 6 issues right back
Killed
where it
some of our beloved side characters.
Yeah. Well, technically, they were tossed through the portal, which led back through... I mean, some of the ones, it was no Bluebird Cobb or anything like that.
No, I mean, Bluebird's been dead for ages.
I know, but it was still, it was characters like Bluebird Cobb that they just got a name this issue and then died in the same panel.
Didn't Druck and Badge and Arisia die? Or?
Yeah, well, Badge and Arisia got tossed through the portal.
Okay.
Druck actually died.
Yeah.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself to save everyone, and that was the saddest of sad moments for all of us.
Yeah.
Yep. So... maybe they'll go through the portal and it'll reconstitute Druck. I don't know. I doubt it, but still, he was one of our favorites and he died. Muck-Muck's still dead.
Yeah, Muck-Muck's fine. Muck-Muck was just, we liked the visual. That was all.
Yeah,
the visual plus name. Yeah.
I bet you Aquaman could have talked to him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then it would have been like, he does talk to fish. Space fish, but still.
Yeah.
So next up.
All right, Black Canary, number 12.
With magic kung fu.
Yes, well, yeah, Black Canary maybe had a rough go of it in the New 52.
Not as bad as Earth 2.
Not as bad as Earth 2, but she had been separated from... she was not allowed to have contact with Green Arrow.
She wasn't really allowed to make friends with too many other people other than Batgirl.
She had the Birds of Prey series, which...
Had its issues. About 20 of them.
Yeah. She had something to do with Team 9, which...
Team 7.
Team 7, okay.
Quit adding people to Team 9. Just because there was 9 people on Team 7 does not mean it was Team 9.
I just literally forgot the name of it, and I figured it ran about 9 issues, so, you know. So, not the best thing. So, in an effort to rejuvenate her, they decided to put her in charge as the superhero rock star in charge of a Jabberjaws-esque traveling band that had adventures across.
It was
on
like
a
Josie
tour.
and the Pussycats with more kung fu.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, and it's certainly a different take on the character to maybe revitalize her a little bit. And so when we last saw Black Canary, she is being stabbed in the gut by a demon pretending to be her aunt with a ninja sword.
Okay, well, that's a little less on the revitalization storyline.
Yeah, because we talk about Josie and the Pussycats, but it was also very Roadhouse.
Yes.
Like every single 80s action, it's like, I've got a dark past. I know kung fu secrets I'm not allowed to know. You know, it's
Just like Patrick Swayze.
Yeah. We open on Black Canary playing their last show, and Dinah moving on to her solo career, and we skip years of her life as she begins her experimental phase, making albums with Itzhak Arato, starts making commercial albums, goes on BBC Two, tells Terry Wogan how she made it.
Eventually joins the Flaming Lips for at least one tour.
Yeah. And she keeps picking up these weird vibrations, and Justice League members keep showing up and telling her to help them fight Rave Death. But the music is too important, Wonder Woman. I don't care about that demon that's murdering entire cities of people. She gets older, starts making really crappy albums, goes on tour. People just want to hear the hits. Green Arrow goes off to space to fight Rave Death while she's pregnant, and he dies, and it's really sad. Her daughter grows up, looks surprisingly like this Ditto character that was in her band for a while.
Weird.
Yeah, her original band. And as she's dying, she realizes that this whole thing has been a trick by Arato to try to get the Five Heavens Palm kung fu technique from her, because as it turns out, her mother did hide this secret kung fu technique inside of her when she was younger through the music that she was playing for her. So then she wakes up in our time, pulls the sword out of her gut.
Ouch.
Ditto, the little magic space alien girl with music powers, heals her.
Literally goes, ouch.
Yeah. And she finally remembers and uses the Five Heavens Palm to split into 5 different versions of herself and her mother, and explodes Itzhak Arato, a.k.a. Rave Death. A.k.a.
Kraftwerk.
Yeah, a.k.a. Kraftwerk, yes. So she leaves Bo Maeve, sort of the whoever the evil girl from Josie and the Pussycats was. She was sort of like the lead singer before Dinah came
the
in.
Parker Posey of
Yes.
Josie and the Pussycats movie.
Yeah, so she leaves Bo Maeve in charge as the lead singer of Black Canary and heads off to be a superhero again. A+, would recommend, would read again.
Would read again?
Would read again.
All right. It seems to have been a dividing line. I know when the DCU launched, that was our big thing, was it was aiming for a core audience, and if you liked it, you really liked it, like you were vested, which obviously was your camp. And then there are a lot of people that were just like, this is not Black Canary. This is just a different character named Black Canary right now, and I can't really jump on board with that. But I thought it was a great side little.
It was great. It opened up like the DC universe is ridiculous.
Yes,
like when you look at it from the 90-foot view or whatever, it is ridiculous. So being able to say this is a world with superheroes, so of course the possibility that rock shows are just ridiculous, super powered kung fu battles
that you don't know about.
That you don't know about, it, like that. That's like it's like I don't know what's happening at those underground punk shows, but this is what's happening. I thought that was a really fun angle to take.
It was,
and you could look at it and say, oh, it's like DCU, Josie and the Pussycats, but there's so much more to it.
Yeah.
Plus,
it's shorthand. Yeah. We use shorthand a lot just to try to get the gist across. I'm not relegating it to just DC Universe's Josie and the Pussycats. It's a very quick way for people to go, oh, gotcha, I know what they're going for.
Yeah. And it was a lot of fun and just great artwork from Annie Wu and Sandy Jarrell, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, and Brendan Fletcher is just, I've been enjoying just about everything he's done to DCU, which I realize puts me in the minority, but...
It's not a minority, it's a 50-50 split.
Gotcha.
As I said, it's literally that DCU thing where it's, if you liked it, you were 100% going to be vested in it, you were going to buy the book, you were going to support it. If you weren't vested in it, you were probably going to go online and go, this sucks, I hate it, blah, blah, blah. And have valid reasons for why you don't like it as well.
Yeah.
There's valid on both sides of the camps. It's just they were trying very hard to build a brand loyalty with the DCU and, for specific characters by making them so niche, so focused in their audiences that they would want. And it maybe we'll get some of that carries over into Green Arrow. You saw she was much more snarky.
Yeah, she was much more snarky, and he still acknowledged the fact, it's like, yeah, whatever, rock star.
Yeah, I mean, think
you're a superhero again now? Yeah.
It's probably something that will be used as a shutdown for her moving forward in the future.
Hopefully Lord Byron will continue to be hilarious in the background.
Yep.
Somewhere along the line.
So, I mean, they introduced some characters that are fun, just little side characters, and that's, as I said, that's what makes the world feel more alive to me, is all of the little stupid characters that get cast off into the darkness that we never hear from again until like some event where all of a sudden you see a panel and it's just, I don't know, Mauve staring off at a red sky somewhere. And you're like, holy crap, I remember her.
Yeah. Or, you see them fighting off, parademons at like a rock show or something with Ditto's bass guitar, It's like, oh, thanks guys. I needed that.
And it's something stupid. It's one little panel, but it makes the world feel so much more alive and so much more like, yeah, there are people that, we don't want to die, and get out there and use the Speed Force or something and fix this.
Yes. And Black Canary is also one of those books where in two separate storylines, it built to one of those scenes that I love in movies where some gigantic cosmic or otherworldly event happens, and even the people who are there to witness it aren't quite sure what just happened.
Yep.
I best example probably.
Did the crowd start cheering afterwards?
The crowd did not start cheering afterwards. It was just everyone's like, "Oh, so that happened." sort of like at the end of Guardians of the Galaxy.
There wasn't even just like the slow clap of one guy, just like
no.
Yeah!
Even Black Canary wasn't quite sure what happened, which was great. It's sort of like the end of Guardians of the Galaxy is the most recent example I can think of where it's like, everything went purple there for a second. Cool, we won. All right.
I think.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, fair enough. That's the nice ambiguous way to end it. Not the 80s rock concert or public speaking event where everything goes to chaos and then one person starts to clap and then everyone goes, yeah! And then freeze frame jump at the end. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It had a 12-issue run. I mean, that's a fun read for people if they want
nice, neat little trades to go on the shelf.
It's a nice little side story that if you want to see
that Midnighter can go right up there next to each other.
I've been getting my Midnighters. So, moving on, Red Hood - Arsenal, two best friends. And some of you may be going, well, who's Red Hood? Who's Arsenal? Who are these people? And I can tell you that really quick. Red Hood is Jason Todd, a.k.a. the second Robin under Batman. After the first one, Dick Grayson kind of went, you know what? My butt's really sexy. I'm going to go solo. And that's what he did. So Batman decided, well, I could probably get another Robin. Got Jason Todd, who eventually was killed at the hands of the Joker. Oops. Came back to life. Much more stabby than when he died, and has been kind of an anti-hero since. Recently made peace with Batman and has been trying to be a hero alongside his best friend, Roy Harper, who is Arsenal, who is the ex-sidekick to Green Arrow who hit rock bottom due to a substance abuse problem. And after Killer Croc took him to AA, he decided he would get his life together and try to make the world a better place. And these two have been palling around, but unfortunately, after he got out of AA, Roy Harper decided the best way for me to make the world a better place is to hire a bunch of mercenaries, form a mercenary band, and we'll go make the world right for the people that can't afford it. And, we'll take some of the lower paying jobs and try to help make this world better. Unfortunately, the mercenaries he brought on board were a bunch of psychopaths and murderers, as most mercenaries can be, and they ended up going rogue, and he was forced to kill them by leaving them at a nuclear destruction site, thinking that was the end of it until today when it turns out that radiation gave them superpowers, and he has been taken captive by them, and Jason Todd has to come save them. They do something kind of funny in these issues, these last couple issues. The Joker's daughter, I'm not even going to get into her, really, honestly. She's not actually the Joker's daughter. She's just some crazy teenage girl. Has decided to televise the death of Roy Harper and allowed people to vote on whether he should live or die.
Oh.
I thought it was a nice little thing, and then all of the people are so jaded out there, they just go, yeah, kill him. Yeah, kill him. I want to see how this plays out. And so they're about to kill him when Jason Todd shows up with a bunch of the anti-radiation arrows that Roy Harper had built, just
Yeah.
And starts brutally murdering all of the Iron Rule mercenaries, with Royalists like, no, that's not what that's for. Stop killing people. Until it finally comes down to Roy Harper jumping in front of the last two that are left and saying, no, I'm going to take him to jail. Stop murdering everyone, Jason Todd. Dear God, please just stop. And Jason Todd goes, fine, but they're on your hands. You have to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. And Roy Harper kind of comes over at the end like, dude, what the hell was up with that? That was serrated knives, stabby Jason Todd right there, not the good guy Jason Todd. We talked about this. No more going all evil on me. And Jason Todd kind of looks at him and has a mental conversation with himself about how he feels he's holding back Roy Harper, and maybe he's not cut out to be this type of hero, not the clean cut on TV doing the right thing guy. And he tells Roy Harper, you know, you have too much faith in people. I have no faith in people. I'm never going to become the hero you want me to be, but as long as I'm around, you're never going to become the hero that I know you are. So I'm just going to hit the old dusty trail, buddy. They do like little fist bump, like catch you on the other side, Kimosabe, and they kind of separate their ways. And that's how the bromance ends. And I was like, oh, come on, guys. The whole thing was that these were two 20s, like early 20s dudes that just were the worst at planning anything, to be honest. They kept trying to do the right thing and just kept screwing up again and again and again. And it was just their misadventures all the time. And they grew on me. They sound like the dude bros that you would hate, just like palling around, but they grew on me because their intentions were good and they actually were really good friends. And so to see that come to a close, especially just because they both know that they're just not compatible with one another as far as where their characters are going for DC Rebirth. Like Arsenal's obviously heading off to Titans, and Jason Todd is starting a new Outlaws group. So it's sorry guy. Hopefully our teams don't run across each other in the future.
Mm-hmm. It's not an easy crossover or anything.
No. Two groups of late or early 20s kids kind of learning their ropes and doing heroic stuff. Surely we'll never cross paths again. But no, it was a solid ending to it. Much less rushed than the last time Red Hood and the Outlaws, when it rebooted into this Red Hood Arsenal. That one felt very quick and like, oh, we gotta do that now? Okay, let's do it real quick. This one, the entire arc was built up to show their differences and how they aren't on the same wavelength, and it was sad. It was sad to me. I've been like the lone champion of this book. I'm like, yay, I like these two. I know you've laughed at least some of their adventures.
Oh, yeah.
Like when they vaporize the one dude and they try to figure out how to hide it.
Yes.
Like, put him under the rug. I don't know what to do.
Move this file cabinet over it.
I mean, they've had some very fun adventures, and to see it come to this end was sad. So, it is a nice transition to where they're going, though. So, moving on.
That's you.
Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess no,
Harley
it isn't.
Quinn book 18.
No, I have Constantine, the Hellblazer number 13.
Constantine. I completely forgot about Constantine.
Yeah,
all
what
right.
the hell, man?
I pushed too far ahead in my notes.
I pushed too far into the sun.
All right, so Constantine is a jerk magician.
Yeah, the con artist magician, kind of ex-hero.
Ex-hero, yeah. He kind of ran around as the superheroes for a while. Had a superhero girlfriend, and then he's just like, yeah, I don't like doing this.
Well, he sold their love for one another. He and Zatanna were an item, and to save the world, he had to sacrifice their love, and he's the only one that remembers it, and she just thinks he's a scumbag now, and he couldn't really hang around with her after that, so he went back off to being scumbag.
Yeah.
John Constantine once more.
And Neron, one of the many devils of the DC universe, bought New York somehow, and is using all of the rich souls of New York, because New York is such an interesting city.
It really is. I mean,
to, garner more favor and possibly take over the underworld and regular world.
Yep. Two for Tuesday.
So Constantine was trying to avoid, saving the planet again for a while by just moving to a different city, but he finally realized that he had to do the right thing. And so he comes back to New York and he's like, Oi, loves, cavalry's here. Just let me take off my knickers. And so
did he shake his bum too, and then Blizzard had to remove it?
I guess you cannot remove Constantine's shaking bum.
No,
that and Nightwing. Oh my God, them and Nightwing were in the same story together.
Bum 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 bum.
Yeah.
Are you looking at my bum?
Bum lookers. So he gets Neron out of New York by using naked magic to make New York City the most boring city on the planet. He's like all of a sudden, like all the cool hipster locations and interesting musicians and stuff like that are all as boring as a small 30-person farm town. It's like, so all of the
it's just a city of Applebee's everywhere.
Oh no. Maybe a Bennigan's even.
No Bennigan's. It's all Applebee's.
Yeah, so
2 for $20 for everybody.
Yes. So all of the souls in New York are worthless now. Neron is completely magically bankrupt. So Constantine brokers a deal. So Lady Alexandriel, the nightmare pixie, makes a deal to purchase New York off of Neron, pays off all of his debts that he had with her. So now, because she doesn't need their souls, she's just going to use it as her own personal playground. And Constantine's just like, at least she won't be eating anybody when she's doing that stuff. So Neron skulks off. And Alexandriel, as a broker fee, gives John the souls of just 2 measly little girls back. He's like, all right, yeah, this is great. Constantine kind of wins one.
Yay.
So he goes to tell Oliver, his pseudo boyfriend, that he'll get, whose girls had been kidnapped and sold off to the devil in the process of this past story. He's like, hey, Oliver, check it out. I got your girls' souls back. It'll take me about a day or 2 to, work out the specifics. But I'll
have them like on hangers, just like,
spooky
souls.
But I'll get them out of the pit. Everything will be all right. And he's like, oh, that's great that you did that there, John. But I already got them back by selling my soul to your demon jerk ex-girlfriend Blythe. Oh, no. So
what are these? What do I have here?
Yeah, what are these souls I have here? Yeah, so I didn't even think about that. So he's like, all right, make sure the girls get to their mother. And Blythe melts Oliver right in front of his children and takes him off to hell. And Constantine's like, all right, earmuffs while I cover your eyes with my hands, no peeking. And he's like, well,
best of luck, kids.
Best of luck, kids. Sorry about that. My bad.
Do you each want a soul to take care of?
Yeah, because I've got 2. I've got 2 minutes.
Yeah. They are. They're kind of like Tamagotchis. Just remember to feed them some soul food every now and then.
Some soul food. So Johnny Boy then decides, I'm gonna get the hell out of New York. I already got the hell out of New York, but I'm gonna do the literal version. I'm gonna do the the non-literal version of that as well.
Non-literal version.
Yes, that's why I said non-literal.
The metaphorical?
Metaphorical, yes.
Yeah, is that the word you were grasping
Possibly,
for there?
Yes. I'm going to metaphorically get the hell out of New York, and he continues on to, he's getting a new series, isn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, so we'll see.
Continue on. Yeah. He's hanging out with Swamp Thing, don't you remember?
Oh, yes, I remember, yeah.
Yeah, it's him and Swamp Thing, the bestie friends in the whole wide magical world.
Yeah, but Ming Doyle and James Tynion did a great job with this little series, and I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think they did a wonderful job of bridging the gap between superhero John Constantine that they were trying to make a little bit more TV friendly at the beginning of the New 52, and getting him much closer to his Hellblazer roots from Vertigo, while still being a member of the DC universe instead. So he has a place just in the shadows, and he can still have the exact same adventures, and just everyone's like, la la la, we don't know what he's doing, la 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 la. Yeah. So I thought it was a good mix, and hopefully they continue that route, maybe even go darker. I don't know what they're going to do with it.
It was cool that the issues that he did do got Riley Rossmo, the new Batman series.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Did you see that issue 52 he did of Batman?
Yes,
that was so cool looking.
Yeah,
that new villain he created. Oh, mwah.
Yeah, should be interesting. I have a really quick one next, and that's Harley Quinn and her gang of Harleys, because everyone has their own Harley, and even the books that are out right now seem to have their own version of Harley. She's kind of kooky, she's kind of zany, but she's split off from the Joker to find her own way. She does not like the Joker whatsoever anymore. She's her own woman, and she's going to do it her way, and has taken up residence on Coney Island and tried to get a life of her own, and eventually overburdened herself, where she had a day job. She was doing roller derby stuff in the evening, and then all of the other time-consuming things that come along with being Harley Quinn. Yeah, it's hard to juggle it all. So she decided to have auditions for a gang of Harleys and eventually put together a group of like-minded individuals who would help do a Heroes for Hire type thing in New York City. And that's what they're kind of doing until recently, when one of the people that did not make the cut in her tryouts, a lady by the name of Harley Sin, there's a lot of Harley puns in these names, so just roll with it, has taken Harley Quinn captive and is trying to murder the other gang of Harleys so that she can have her own group and be part of this whole Harley thing. And as she has went and tried to destroy all of the gang of Harleys, they were able to escape and come to rescue Harley Quinn herself, but end up finding all of her mercenaries that she hired. Harley Sin murdered them all because she wasn't able to pay them and they were getting uppity, so she killed them all and took Harley Quinn elsewhere. And all of the gang of Harleys are like, oh no, what will we do now? Woo! This is even before Rebirth, I decided I was not going to cover much of Harley Quinn because it's just impossible for me to it loses everything when I try to recap the puns and jokes of Harley Quinn and just go, and then they said something about a beaver and people laughed and there was a sly smirk. It's just not, it does not translate well to this format. So, story-wise, that's what happened. And if you want to check it out, feel free to. It is a comedy style book, and there are some humorous things in this particular issue that I quite enjoyed. Next up, to wrap up the show.
Well, that's the end of our regular thing.
Yes, that's all the books that came out from the DC universe.
You just
this week.
Specifically wanted me to go over what I read in Wacky Raceland.
Yeah, I wanted
the Hanna-Barbera, like a Mad Max version of Wacky Races.
I just wanted to see what you thought of the #1 issue of it. We're a little loosey-goosey this month or two while we're doing the Rebirth start stuff, so I figured we could wander a little off course.
So, what the is that?
That's about the reaction I expected.
Yeah. It looks like a Rob Zombie music video, and Mad Max had a baby.
Yep.
It's a post-apocalyptic thing where all the wacky racers are super grim and gritty, or went through like the Hot Topic and or HR Giger filter. They're in a nice touch. They are being compelled to race for a spot in Utopia by a disembodied voice announcer, which is kind of amusing if you think back to what the old Wacky Races was, where it's just like, oh, look at that, the Arkansas Chuggabug is using its wacky things to stop old Dick Dastardly and Muttley. They gave them the what for, and now it's this like evil lady that is compelling them to murder each other on these death races. And also the cars can talk and are sentient.
Yes, and there's dune sandworms and radiation monsters.
And it's being told completely out of, and like the timeline is constantly shifting around, and we're getting
that's an issue 1 introduction of
and we're getting horrifying nightmare origins for all of these characters.
Yep.
Yeah.
And sometimes the bears eats you.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
was this what you expected going into it? Were you expecting it to be more Wacky Races, but in the future with
I'm not quite sure what I was expecting based on that art and the fact that like the concept designs were done by the Mad Max Fury Road artist. Not quite sure. Leonardo Manco, who's always really good at drawing like, scary, spooky sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Like I remember he even did he tried to do like a Marvel Werewolf by Night reboot, like back in like the 90s or early 2000s or something that I remember liking, and I'm sure no one else read. But, I don't. When you look at Future Quest, where everything is all bright and shiny and everything's like an idealized
Future
version
Quest with the next issue.
Yeah. And,
because the first one hit on that week 1 of Rebirth. So it was I was trying to keep that one focused on the Rebirth stuff because it was a jump on episode. But I just want to see what you thought about the Hanna-Barbera stuff that they're doing.
Yeah,
you can talk about the Scooby-Doo Apocalypse next week, and then I'll let you talk about each one just for a brief minute or two. Yeah. Because these were things that at least caught your eye.
Probably not picking up issue 2 on this one.
No. But Catwoman,
maybe
this was everything that we had asked for.
This was everything that we asked for in Catwoman, wasn't it?
But we were looking more for the Mirror Master and his zany
we were literally looking for the DC characters in a Wacky Races situation. I'm
gonna just jump out there and say I actually quite enjoyed it. I was expecting it to be more zany and kind of goofy. This is not zany or goofy whatsoever.
No.
This is the backstory for the bear one read like an issue of All-Star Western, or like a Jonah Hex style, like just really dirty West wilderness style story, and the future stuff was all just like total post-apocalyptic destructo world, where they basically just said, look guys, we have no handcuffs, we can do whatever we want now, and we're going to do it. And that was like, okay, well, I'll at least check you out. And they've only introduced like 4 of the main characters, so they can add more and more and more, and it'll be quite interesting. I think no Muttley yet.
And Muttley's in there.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he's not doing his laugh.
Not wheezing at me.
Not the wheezy laugh. Yeah. Actually, they actually managed to make Dick Dastardly kind of a sympathetic character, even though he's acting like a jerk the entire time. I thought that was rather amusing.
Yep. So
I will probably check out the trade just to see what the heck that all happened, but not something I'm chomping at the bit for every month.
I'm gonna be frank. After I read it, I was like, "There's no way in hell Brian's gonna like this." Just because of what I thought you were thinking it was going into it, and what I probably thought it was going into it, and it was not that whatsoever.
Yeah.
For the better for me, maybe for the surprise of what the hell for you.
Yeah, I'm not saying it shouldn't exist. It's certainly an interesting thing. It's just like not for me. That's all.
Fair enough.
We read enough comics. I'll go back to my Kaiju Oz. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you recommend your Kaiju Max Oz with giant monsters and Ultramans and whatnot, but this is just a bridge too far.
It's a bridge too far. Yeah. I'll read my Kaiju Oz and my my British college teen drama or whatever, and I'll go on from there.
But that's it. That's all the books that we're going to cover for this week. As a reminder to you guys, go out there and buy what you like. If you don't buy it, it goes away. So some of this stuff may interest you. If it does, check it out. Just buy an issue or 2, see if it's up your alley, and then you can follow along if you like, or if not, move on to something else. There's plenty of options out there right now. I know some of this stuff may seem scary as far as issue 957 or 932. It's really not. They are jump on points. The Action Comics may be a little confusing at first. As I said, by the end of the first arc, I have a feeling you'll be fully on board. Just be willing to roll with the punches for an issue or 2.
Yeah, just look for those big numbers in the white circles. It's a good jumping on point.
Yep. So make sure you support what you like, because if it goes away and you aren't buying it, you have no one to blame but yourself and probably a couple thousand other people, who also weren't buying it. Mm-hmm. Next week, we will be covering more books. We got Batman #1 coming out next week. Green Arrow #1. Remember, we're doing the bi-monthly, bi-weekly, whatever. So all of the rebirths that we had last week will be getting their first issues next week. Green Lantern's #1, Justice League #51. Justice League of America #9 is wrapping up. New Suicide Squad #21 wrapping up. Let's see what else we got. Superman #1 and Titans Rebirth #1. So really only one rebirth issue next week, with the Titans, which is kind of a big one. Everyone seems to be kind of holding their breath for, since that's basically going to set the tone for the DC Rebirth line. Since these are all the characters that were kind of cast off from the reboot, being put together on a team, and how much of it is going to be old and how much of it is going to be new, and tightrope.
The fact that they had a second cover just to sort of cover up the whole Wally reveal was well done. Well done, guys. Good job.
Well played. So we'll cover all those next week, and maybe a couple other things as well. Scooby-Doo Apocalypse If you want to give that one a shot and see what you think of it.
I've given it a shot already.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. I mean, it's baiting the hook for next week, man.
Yeah.
Baiting the hook. Everyone's waiting with bated breath.
Want to know what I think about Scooby Apocalypse?
What you think about Scooby-Doo Apocalypse?
Scooby-Doo, one of my least favorite cartoons growing up. Let's see what I have to think about that.
So make sure you check us out next week for those. If you do want to contact us, Brian, where can they do so?
On the internet.
Yep, we're DCR Podcast everywhere. We mostly stick to Twitter and Facebook, but if you want to email us, you can do so at feedback@dcrpodcast.com. So if you have nothing else, Brian,
you can contact me for a copy of my children's book, The Dinosaur Who Ate Comets, at thebriang.tumblr.com, or on my Facebook, or even there are links on the DCR Facebook page.
So when I say, so if you have nothing else to say, Brian, that's me saying you have nothing else to say, Brian, just in a questioning tone so that you could go, yeah, not pimp your shit.
I was promised.
I know. But that's it. That's all I got. E3 this weekend. Woo!
Okay.
Yay!
Bunch of games I won't play for another 10 years. So,
Lothar Ogar, Warcraft movie came out this weekend. Woo!
Okay.
Go Horde. That's really all I can say to that one.
Are there cow people in this movie?
No, this is pre-cow people. This is back at the beginning. This is Warcraft 1.
Okay.
And a little bit of 2. And then
I started on 3, so this is...
Yeah, they'll probably finish up 2 with the next
new to
movie.
me.
They do a lot of setup for side movies.
Really?
So, and basically this is like the weakest of the storylines, I think, of all of the Warcraft stuff. So if enough people go to see it this week that it gets greenlit for the other stories, those are the ones I'm looking forward to. And yay. It looks like enough people probably went and saw it this weekend.
Okay, gotcha.
Yay, China. Yay, Woo! China.
Thanks for that Pacific Rim sequel, guys.
Yep, we owe you one. And we just won't pay attention when you make your version of movies that aren't quite what they are. So that's it.
We will forgive the weird cell phones in Civil War.
Yes. That's it for all of us here. So everyone, enjoy your books, enjoy your week, enjoy your lives, and we're going to come at you next week.